Charlie wakes up facing a window that she did not even know was there. And she's surprised to see that it is raining. It looks as if the sky is crying. Giant, silent tears. But it's okay. She likes the rain. She even likes a gentle storm. There's something so powerful yet gentle about that. The combination seems to um, defy everything, but she looks at it as God working. She takes a deep breath and focuses on the ladies who are once again sitting in a semicircle watching her. But this time they're holding these beautiful, delicate teacups. And for some reason, Charlie's Charlie's eyes are drawn to them. They're colorful and delicate, but strong and powerful at the same time. Kind of like the rain. She can still hear the crackling of the embers in the fireplace, and that is good. She automatically looks at Minka. Well, did you have a good respite? I did. At least I think I did. I feel good. So I think that's probably a good sign. Becca speaks. Well, I would say so. I would say so. Sometimes you state the obvious. I know. I know. Sometimes I think I speak my thoughts out loud too often. I need to work on that. No, you don't need to work on that. Your thoughts are yours to do as you please. You have a natural discerning spirit, so you don't have diarrhea of the mouth. So don't worry about that. If anything, maybe you should speak a little bit more. Okay? I'll try to remember that. Saida speaks. When you drifted away, we were, well, the topic was your mother in law. Yes, yes. Not a pleasant topic. I wish it were, but it's not. I I don't know what I can do to make that better. Why do you think you should? She is who she is. You are not responsible for that. You're not responsible for her. And neither is your husband or her other children. You must remember that. We all, as adults, have accountability for our own actions. And but you know this. This is your chosen career path. Why is it so difficult for you to use what you know in your own life? I don't know. Most of the time I can, sometimes too much. I've tried really hard not to become a therapist who analyzes everyone and every situation around them. And that can be challenging sometimes. I think I have it under control. At the very least, I've learned not to say those things out loud. But I have felt like sitting my mother-in-law down and trying to help her figure out why her behavior is so toxic. Sophia speaks. As Saida said, you would be the last person that she would listen to. She doesn't think that, well, she doesn't think very much of people who look like us, period. She just doesn't. And as it was said earlier, some of it is her upbringing in her core that someone has, the seeds that someone has planted, and some of it is her choice. She did choose to marry someone that she feels that she is superior to. But again, that's her issue. So we're not going to waste any more time on her. Not right now. It'll work itself out. Minka looks around the room and finally settles her eyes back on Charlie. Well, you must think that we are terrible hostesses because we haven't offered you any food or drink or anything. Although we know that hunger is really not a part of these visits. But we find tea to be very soothing. And I guess we say that word a lot. Well, I may not say it a lot, but I think it a lot. But I think I tend to use, I think of the word comforting, which is basically the same thing, huh? Well, yes, but I think so many times during our lifetimes, we need that. We need comfort at just about every stage of our lives, from infancy to the very end. So, needing comfort is a normal part of the human experience. And it's okay to acknowledge that. It is what it is. When we can receive it, it is a sign of love. Different levels, of course, from different people at different times. But it's always good. Don't you think? I do. I do think that. Well, we have decided that we did not answer your question yesterday. You asked us to tell you a little about ourselves, and we're going to do that. Now, I must tell you, we don't, our memories are not complete. Just like when you leave to go back there, you will retain memories that will help you, and they will be memories that you need. When we came here, we retained memories that we can use to help others, sometimes even each other. Okay? I'm excited to hear whatever you can share. I'm just, I'm excited to be here. Becca kind of giggles. She says, I think you need to understand that we are not angels. We all know that you are a firm believer in angels, as you should be. And it's easy to think of us that way, but we're not. We're not. We were four women who lived real lives. We were far from perfect, far from perfect, but we learned many life lessons that we use to help the young women in our family like you. We know what we're talking about because we lived it and survived it, whatever it might happen to be. Okay? Saida speaks. Yes, we, as was stated earlier, we are all related. Becca is actually the eldest of the bunch, and we cross several generations. But our experiences, though the differences in different generations, would definitely mean that the experiences were different in the sense of environmental issues and customs and such as that. The human spirit is a human spirit. It doesn't matter what is accepted by society or condemned by society or judged by society. The human spirit, although we are each uniquely made and created by God, the human spirit is very much the same. So we may not be able to tell you a lot, but it will we plan on trying to give you a little bit more insight into who we are. So who wants to start? Sophia speaks. I'll start. Let me say what I need to say so I can sit back and listen to what you ladies have to say. Although I can't verify it, we know each other so well that every time we tell a story, it's usually a new story that we haven't heard before, but we can feel it. Becca says, yes, we can. We really can. Sophia continues to speak. My name means wisdom. And what you don't know is that our names were chosen for us when we came here. When we were there, we had regular names. Each one of our names has a special meaning for us, probably because it was chosen or they were chosen for us, but they fit. They fit. Now, I'm not saying that I am bubbling over with wisdom, but I learned my life lessons quickly. I didn't seem to make a lot of the same mistakes twice, but sometimes when people are smart or they have a little bit of wisdom, it just kind of takes over And it's very easy to fall into um, a place of arrogance. And I did fall into that category for a while. There is a very slim line between confidence and arrogance. And I almost lost my way. Well, no, I did lose my way sometimes. Um, I ignored my natural instincts, basically, because my instincts were telling me to do something that I did not want to do. It's not hard. You will probably hear us say, even more than we've already said it, that free will is a gift from God, one that we misuse all the time. Because thinking that we have all the answers and we don't need Him, well, it's easy to fall into that. Very easy. Frighteningly easy. I birthed, well, that I can remember, I birthed 5 children. Of course, there were many more in my direct line, but the the me that I remember the strongest, which is what I've always thought of, was my last representation there. I had 5 boys and 1 girl. And as with a lot of mothers and their sons, we tend to dote on them. I still haven't figured out, is it because we don't think they have the natural instinct to just make good decisions all the time, or is it the gender thing that we just feel we need to protect them, or is it we know that our girls are just better equipped to handle some of the emotional issues that will come up in life. Whereas men are stronger physically and they are logical thinkers and they tend to be more focused. Women have been given the ability to navigate. I'm not going to say that we navigate better, that wouldn't be fair. But we navigate it in different ways. It doesn't have to be a direct line from point A to point B. We can move over to the side and still get to point B successfully. Men tend to balk at that. They don't like that. It throws them off their natural rhythm. So we complement each other. We do. But my daughter was much more adaptable to life than my sons were. I hope that when a young woman comes here to us, that I am able to affirm that for her, that I'm able to help her to tap into her strengths in that area. It's so easy to get knocked down because someone will look at you as being bossy or, well, something. And sometimes that's true. That that arrogance that I spoke of, that was me a lot of the time. My life and the lives of my children probably would have been a lot better had I not been so into my need to be right about things. But as I said, I didn't make too many of the same mistakes over and over. But the ones that I made were big ones. I am just thankful that I've been given this opportunity to rectify, if not my own mistakes, then maybe I can keep some beautiful young woman from passing that down from herself to her daughters, to her children, but especially to her daughters. Charlie's fascinated. Right before her eyes, this woman who, while she didn't think of them as angels, she did not think of them as people, complete people who had feelings and experiences and issues. She didn't. She did not. But that's changed. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that with me. Um, I guess the word that keeps coming up is thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome. We don't have many ladies who come in here and ask about us. They ask a lot of questions about themselves, which is understandable. But you may have noticed that we don't do a lot of answering of questions. We do basic answers, and we kind of, like you in your work, you usually end up answering your own questions, or your client or patient does. We just help you get there. I have noticed that. I have. And I thank you for that as well. Becca is the next to speak. Well, as Saida said, I am the eldest. So I've had more life lessons to learn. And I have always been one of those people. Well, when I was there, I did make the same mistakes over and over. Of course, I had more time. But as you can obviously see from my complexion, um, I have a direct line to someone who would have looked like your mother-in-law, not your husband, but well, let me just cut through the chase. As the story goes, a Russian czar found him way. Oh my goodness, I need to relax a little bit. It's like Sophia said, we're not used to talking about ourselves like this, unless we're talking to each other. So this is new for us. So forgive us for sometimes maybe sounding as if we're not sure who we are, and our memories are, I call it scattered, uh, maybe selective or selected by someone that's other than us. Maybe that's a better explanation. But a Russian czar visited Ghana and fell in love with a very important king's eldest daughter. Now, of course, he didn't have to worry about his mother being upset if he dared to bring an African woman home to Russia, because that was not going to happen. But they fell in love. It's actually, as the story goes, of course, who knows how much of it is actually true, but enough that has been repeated throughout the ages. They did fall in love. He fell in love with her beauty. She was 6 feet tall, with skin the color of night. Her eyes were deep and dark with just a hint of light that you only saw when she was smiling, which was quite often. My direct line has been told many times that our women have been born with a smile. I remember being told that much of my life. That's that could be a problem because our natural inclination to smile is sometimes just it's just a facade to hide our pain. I know that is the way it was for me, and I suspect it has been that way for the women before me as well. Well, back to the story. He had to go back. He had to leave her there. He left guards there. Her father was offended that he felt that guards were needed. That this was his daughter. He would most certainly protect her. But he was worried about her, and his masculine ego needed to know that he was in some way leaving some type of protection there for her. He left 5 of his personal guards. She was worried because she didn't know if he would have enough people surrounding him to keep him safe. But what happened is her father sent additional tribesmen to get him back to his vessel. Two of the guards ended up crossing the boundaries with some of the young women in her court. And well, one was directly from her court, and one was a young lady from the village. They were fascinated by the beauty of the women, and nothing has changed even today. They were compelled to try, in this case, force their way into their beautiful bodies. Well, that doesn't go well. It did not go over well. And when the powers that be found out what they did, those two guards suddenly became confused and deranged. I guess that's a close enough description. And they wandered away. They wandered off into the jungle. They were never seen again. The remaining guards were very much aware that whatever compulsion they may have felt for the beautiful women that surrounded them, unless they were invited to sample the richness of their loins, they left them alone. But there were some invitations there, and that was the beginning of who you see now. With my complexion being lighter than everyone else in this room, the taste from both sides. The core had been planted. I, my direct line, there have been several interracial marriages or, well, yeah, marriages. They were not just um, fornicating. They laugh. The ladies laugh. I know that word has always um, sounded so out of date. I don't care when it was spoken. It just seemed to be a little bit off. But we have to keep it very clean, ladies. So they all laugh. Even Charlie at that, they laugh out loud. I am I do find humor, or I look for humor in things that are not always funny. But laughter is good for the soul. Good for your wrinkles too. Or so I've been told. Do I have that right? But believe it or not, my name means spiritual. And I am very spiritual. My faith is strong. And God has given me a voice. He has given me words to say to help our young women to look for the lightness in situations that are sometimes very heavy. I would say dark because sometimes that is definitely what they are. There's always a war between good and evil and light and dark. But God is still always there. He's always there. His light is always there. The darkness tries to place a shadow over it where it's not seen, tries to put it out. But he can't do that because that light belongs to God. So smile more, Charlie. Sebastian makes you smile. And like I said earlier, he is fine. He is really, really fine. So you smile for him quickly for a lot of different reasons. Share that beautiful smile. Share it. You have this calm spirit that is comforting to the people in your world. But it's okay to smile. Sometimes you have to just do it. Sometimes it doesn't. To be honest, most of the time it doesn't come like mine. I think I wake up smiling. Even if I went to bed crying, I wake up smiling. And as I said, sometimes facades can become very heavy. I was gonna say they were gonna be heavy, but they can become heavy. So I guess that's all I have to say. Okay. I I thank you for that as well. Um, to be honest, sometimes I think I'm smiling, but I find out that I'm not. I can be having a wonderful, beautiful day and think that I'm walking around with that showing on my face, but it's not. I don't think I'm looking upset or angry. I just don't think a lot of people can read my face. And that's probably true, and that's definitely not a bad thing. Um, Even with all of my smiling, my natural smiling, very few people can read my face either because that's what they're used to seeing. So therein lies the facade. One of the things that is so wonderful about being here, and it's not that I didn't have people in my life when I was there that knew me well enough to read me. I have been blessed with that. Not as often as I would have liked, but how many times does life give us everything we need? Pretty much never. But um, being here with my sisters, because that is what we are. That is that is who we are to each other. They know who I am, and I know who they are, and that is a blessing that I don't even have words to describe. Saida says, I agree. I agree. So I guess it's my turn. Charlie says, have you noticed that we all giggle alike? Saida says, do we giggle? I think so. I think so. I didn't realize that I had a giggle until Sebastian pointed it out to me. And at first I thought it was just a nervous reaction, but it's really not. And it's not an indication that anything is really funny per se, but it's an indication that all is well. All is well. I agree. I think I'm gonna have to, have to listen for that. Um, before we start, before I start, let's have a little. Let's take the time to savor a cup of tea. We need to embrace everything that has already been said, and I think you'll enjoy the tea. Do you like blackberries? I love blackberries. Well, this is tea that we make, and we all like blackberries too. We're not just drinking it because we're trying to fix something that you like. We like it. It's kind of strong, and I don't think very many people can say that they've had hot blackberry tea, but it is delicious and very relaxing. So we're gonna sit here and have our tea, and then we'll just pick up with my story. Okay.